everyone, and thank you for being here with us today. My name is Jessica Morgan, and I am Director of Tourism Development and also your tour guide today as we embark on a fun-filled and informative session about Louisville, Kentucky. We have a full lineup of friends joining us today, and by the end of our time together, we will have you booking a ticket to the City of Love. While the city might be named after King Louis XVI, you cannot spell Louisville without love. So just a few housekeeping notes, my friends. I hope you all have your cocktail making ingredients handy, and we couldn't wrap up a great Pride Month and a great Pride celebration without a toast to our friends, but also acknowledge this time of year is when we celebrate National Bourbon Day as well on June 14th. So we just thought the Pride and the Bourbon Day paired nicely together. Also, stick around till the end of the event. We have a very special giveaway that only can be won by paying attention to some of the fun facts that we're going to be sharing with you today through our program. And I may have already given you one hint in my introduction, so pay close attention to that. Also, we have someone monitoring the chat, so as we go through our presentation today, feel free to ask questions. Put those in the chat and we will get back to you in real time. But buckle in, sit back, relax as we transport you to Bourbon City. Whether you're driving in or flying, we are easy to get to from any U.S. destination. And for our international attendees, we are one quick stop through one of our international gateway hubs or a quick drive from an international gateway airport. So with that, I'm going to get our presentation up and we can go through some great visuals of our wonderful city of Louisville. But while we're getting that ready, if you guys could put into the chat or a quick show of hands, how many of you all have been to Louisville before? And if you've been here, I would love to know what your favorite bourbon cocktail is. So if you guys could throw that into the chat, if you're a Manhattan fan, or maybe you like your bourbon neat, that would be great. So go ahead and put those in the chat. If we have anybody that has been to Louisville before, we'd love to know and see who has visited our great city. But without further ado, I just want to kick things off. As you know, Louisville is the home of so many great, wonderful bourbon spirits, but we're also known for a few other iconic attractions, people, places, and events. And a few facts, just getting through our flights here, we had these up earlier. A few facts about us, though, is we are home to the Kentucky Derby, which is one of the longest running consecutive sporting events in the world. It just ran its 148th running of the Roses. And the reason the Derby is named the Running for the Roses is because of the garland that's placed over the horse's neck after they win the Derby. It's the most exhilarating, fastest 2 minutes in sports, but it is a great time when you come to our city the first Saturday in May to take part in the Kentucky Derby. We are also the home of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was born in Louisville. Many of you all may have known that, and he spent much of his life here. And we have a great opportunity where you can visit his childhood home. You can tour the Muhammad Ali Center, which you see pictured here. And he has a credible life story that the center talks about his six life core principles. But also, we are here to talk about bourbon as well. You may know we are home to the Urban Bourbon Trail or Bourbon Experiences, and we in Louisville have an unparalleled opportunity to dive into how it's made, the history of bourbon, how to expand your palate with different tasting experiences, and maybe even jump in there and take your hand at your own barrel bottling experience as well.
I better not be showing.
Louisville has some fantastic city history. It was established in 1778, and the city boasts iconic historical attractions all across our great city. Just kidding. Sorry, guys, we got some clicks here. See if I can get my thing clicking. Thank you, guys. I just love live television. So back to what I was saying, but Louisville is a fantastic city with a great extensive history, as we were established in 1778. And I may be saying that over and over again because it might be a hit. But we have some wonderful historical hotels, as you are seeing here, the Brown Hotel. But we also have some great juxtaposition with a lot of our modern properties as well, which you see here is the 21C, which is a full-size statue of the David, which adorns our Main Street. It is a incredible selfie spot and is a fabulous nod to the wonderful arts and culture that we have in our city as well. And while you may be taking in the sights of our main street, you also will notice that we are a southern city. We are home to great cuisine and great hospitality, and much of our bourbon experiences are not only in what we get into our glass, but also on our plates. So we don't only drink our bourbon in Louisville, Kentucky, we eat our bourbon as well. And you can experience that through a lot of our eateries that we imbibe in the menu through many of our locally owned restaurants that we have here. And while we welcomed over 19 million visitors in 2019, as we are known as a destination for vacationers seeking out these wonderful iconic attraction experiences, we also boast an incredible convention center. For several of our attendees today, who I think are in the meetings business, we wanted to share just a few of our sites and locations that you can also book in a memorable event. Seeing here is the Kentucky International Convention Center. The Kentucky International Convention Center has over 200,000 square feet of continuous exhibit space and is newly remodeled and renovated. And it has a state-of-the-art conference theater with over 100,000 square feet of pre-function space. And this is located right in the heart of downtown, nearby to all of our signature attractions and hotels. Also neighboring to a few miles outside of the city is our Kentucky Expo Center. The Kentucky Expo Center is one of the top 5 in the country with over 1.2 million square feet of continuous meeting space and over 300 acres of outdoor space as well. It is also the site of several of our signature music festivals that we host in September, Bourbon Beyond and Louder Than Life, which we welcome back this year and can't wait to have these 3-day festival concert lineups back in Louisville, Kentucky. And Louisville is a modern city with small town charm and feel, but it also features iconic attractions at every turn. And it is a welcoming city. We are gentle-natured residents who welcome our visitors like a guest in their own home. And when you welcome guests into your home in a southern city, you greet them with a nice, cold, refreshing drink. And so I want to introduce you to a few more of my friends before we get to some of our fun today. But I want to bring up Nicole Twigg, our Vice President of Tourism Development. Hello, Nicole, and welcome.
Hi, Jess. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so honored to be a part of today's program on behalf of Louisville Tourism. Being a part of today's conversation serves as a wonderful opportunity to show pride and support for our amazingly diverse community and visitors. It's also one more way to reinforce Louisville's dedication to compassionate hospitality for all. As the tourism agency that markets Louisville as a great city to visit, we have always prided ourselves on being welcoming and inclusive, making it our mission to be one of the most LGBTQ-friendly destinations in the country. That's one of the things that I love the most about representing the city of Louisville. We often surprise and delight people who take the time to get to know us better. That's just another reason I'm excited to be with you today to share things about us you might not know. Like the fact that just 2 weeks ago, Louisville Tourism, along with our mayor, metro team, government officials, and a variety of local LGBTQ groups and advocates declared June 16th through the 23rd as Pride Week here in the city of Louisville, Kentucky. We were there and involved as the Pride flag was raised and Metro Hall and the City Clock Tower were lit in rainbow to mark the occasion. You may not be aware that Louisville is a community that prides itself on our diverse and inclusive nature. That's why Louisville has been a place of firsts in Kentucky for protecting and honoring our LGBT community, which you'll learn more about today. Louisville Tourism is proud to be a leader in the space of inclusivity through the welcoming nature and intentional dedication of our entire team and hospitality industry. I'm so grateful to share that many of our partners statewide, including our Kentucky Department of Tourism, are actively involved in this work alongside us. And today we have the privilege of sharing some of our experiences in the work of our LGBTQ outreach with you. One of the very first things we recognized about launching this work nearly a decade ago is that in order for it to be real and authentic, it needed to be grounded in, informed, and advised by true relationships between our organization and the LGBT community right here in Louisville, which resulted in the launch of Louisville Tourism's LGBTQ Hospitality Task Force, who you'll meet members of today. This has allowed us to work with representatives from hotels, attractions, pride organizations, and key stakeholders within the local LGBT community on an ongoing basis, specifically to highlight Louisville's diversity to all potential visitors. That was our first priority in launching an LGBTQ outreach strategy, fostering active relationships with our own LGBT community right here at home. While our task force naturally includes hospitality industry representation, we also have close working relationships with local LGBT organizations beyond our own industry that include the Local Fairness Campaign, both Kentuckiana Pride and Louisville Pride, Queer Kentucky, Civitas, our local LGBTQ Chamber of Commerce, and our local University of Louisville LGBTQ Center, all of who offer a variety of diverse perspectives on the work that we do as a tourism agency, as well as insight and access to be engaged in opportunities that we may not have been otherwise. We make an intentional effort to have our task force engaged in all levels of our effort, not just in brainstorming sessions, but hosting journalists and clients here at home, traveling alongside us as we actively work shifts in our booths on the road, and working together to provide inspiring content about our destination, just like we are today. We have found that our outreach to potential LGBTQ visitors comes from a much more genuine place with our own LGBT community at the heart of it. Saying that we are a welcome, inclusive destination is not just a marketing message to us, it's a promise that we are making that must be met in practice by all visitors who may encounter our destination. That's why we are committed to offering ongoing and accessible DEI training as a pillar of our work. Over the course of the last decade, we have offered ongoing free DEI training to all members of our hospitality industry, making a specific effort to be sure that these opportunities were not just available to management level staff, but all service industry employees. The trainings have taken place both in person and virtually, and I'm proud to say they've been expanded to include not just those here in Louisville, but across the state of Kentucky. To date, nearly 2,000 industry reps here in Louisville have taken part, and several individual partner businesses have been inspired to offer their own DEI training for their employees. Our LGBTQ task force, community relationships, and ongoing commitment to providing accessible DEI training and resources to our local tourism industry act as the foundation for our outreach initiatives with the aim of growing our LGBTQ visitation in Louisville. And now I'd like to introduce you to Chris Newman, our tourism sales manager, to tell you more about those initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Before I go into the position Louisville as a city and destination stands with our DEI and LGBTQ efforts, I'd like to thank IGLTA for this amazing opportunity. This has been a work in progress for many months, and I'm really excited to finally see it come to life. So I'd like to extend a big thanks to Santiago, Tony, Kristen, and the rest of the IGLTA teams. And also thank you for your patience. All right, so as you just heard from both Jessica and Nicole, for many years, Louisville tourism has been forming our city to be a welcoming destination. This has allowed us to establish a solid plan of action, outreach, and budget to ensure that we keep our current initiatives going strong for years to come. These initiatives stretch from local to regional and all the way to national and international. Starting on the local level, Louisville Tourism has been a sponsor and/or participant in both Pride celebrations held in our city. Yes, that's correct. Louisville has two dedicated Pride festivals, the Kentuckiana Pride Parade and Festival in June at the waterfront, and the Louisville Pride Festival in September held in our vibrant Highlands area. On a regional level, our outreach includes having a booth or tent at Indianapolis Pride, Columbus Pride, and Cincinnati Pride, which we were just at Cincinnati Pride this past weekend, and our booth neighbor was actually Emily Plenty with Provident Travel, who's on this webinar today. So hi, Emily. And thank you for helping setting up our visitor guides. But besides being all the fun and meeting all the cool people at these festivals, having a presence allows us to have one-on-one FaceTime with people to tell them all what Louisville has to offer for the LGBTQ traveler. We're able to inform them of things like our city has 7 TAG-approved hotels. TAG stands for Travel Advocacy Group. And this means that these properties have completed a qualification process based on their employment policies, services, and support for the LGBTQ community. And if that doesn't impress them, we inform them that Louisville has scored a perfect 100% on the Human Rights Campaign Equality Index for 7 years in a row. We also hand out Louisville branded pride items such as rainbow koozies and sunglasses. And we also collect emails by raffling off a prize package shipped to Louisville. With these efforts, we have added thousands of emails every year to our database to ensure that they're getting the latest and greatest information. And we are excited to say we're currently sitting at just over 43,000 subscribers to our leisure database for LGBTQ updates. Touching upon the national and international levels, Louisville Tourism stays committed to being active members of IGLTA, attending their global convention, having opportunities like this one today. We are also members of GTBN, the Gay Travel Business Network, and also attending other major conferences throughout the year, such as Connect Thrive. The future of Louisville is bright for the city as we stay committed to keeping our city a welcoming destination for all for years to come. To further expand on an important and vital role touched upon earlier, the LGBTQ Task Force, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. He is the current Director of Economic Development at Louisville Metro Government and a good friend of Louisville Tourism. Please welcome Ben Moore.
Thanks so much. So glad to be here today and bringing greetings from Mayor Fisher. As Chris mentioned, I serve as the Mayor's Director for Economic Development. It's been a real privilege to work with the administration for the last 8 years and to serve on the task force here with Louisville Tourism. It's such an honor, especially in a city that recognizes that leadership matters. Let's talk about that for a moment. Our mayor, when he was first elected, campaigned on the fact that he would renew our fairness ordinance. This is an ordinance that was in place since 1998, first in the South, that protected folks and LGBTQ folks from housing and workforce discrimination. It was up for renewal during an election bid, and the mayor was out front, said that he would absolutely sign it on day one. And he fulfilled that promise on day one of his administration, thanks to the work of our Metro Council. And we recognize the difference between being inclusive and being tolerant. And that is a walk that the mayor walks with us every day in our work in economic and community development. And it's the reason that Louisville has been one of the first, if not the first, in the state of Kentucky in many areas, and also one of the first in the country to do some of the things that we have done. And we're very, very proud of that. In 2016, the mayor marched in solidarity with our community as the first sitting mayor in Louisville in our Pride Parade in June. We were thrilled to have him along with us. In 2019, he signed an ordinance that recognized LGBTQ businesses as minority contractors for procurement with Metro government, giving them an opportunity and a leg up to work with the city and with organizations across our community. He also was the first mayor to raise the Pride flag, an initiative that was really started with the task force to show support for our community. Representation matters, and we are so glad that the mayor stands with us in this. They were also the first to establish a law enforcement safe harbor program that underscores Louisville Metro Police Department's commitment to safety for all LGBTQ residents and visitors. And it's one of the first cities in the South to extend domestic partner benefits in the early 2000s. We're also really glad, as we mentioned, the HRC score to have received that 7 years running. And we might have some news on an 8th year coming up very, very soon. We also are surrounded by corporate partners like GE Appliances, Humana, Papa John's International that score 100% on the Corporate Equality Index from the Human Rights Campaign. So we're surrounded by folks that understand that representation, equity, inclusion, it all matters. And we're so thrilled for that. As a native, we're going to get personal for a minute. As a native, I've been born and raised here my entire life. I met my husband here. We went to school here, and now we're raising our 2-year-old son. And we have shared in this inclusiveness. We've seen this community grow and embrace us. And we've seen that this is a place that we have rooted our lives with our family and our friends. And I want to reflect for a moment on a date that was really important to the LGBTQ community, June 26th of 2015. That was the date that the Supreme Court granted marriage equality across the nation. And Louisville was the first city in the state of Kentucky to issue a full marriage license. And this gets back to leadership representation. Our mayor was on hand to make sure that the rollout of those marriage licenses was smooth, efficient, and fair. And I'm proud really to say that my husband and I were the beneficiary of that first marriage license. The mayor standing on hand, and a lot of our friends from tourism and from Metro government there to applaud us and to send us along. It was a really touching moment and a wonderful day, and a day that I still remember as something that represents what Louisville is. It's a place that, again, we've chosen to raise our family. We're glad that our son was able to participate in his first Pride Parade this year, and to be a part of that in the post-COVID world in a special shirt made by our friends here at Tourism promoting Louisville's inclusive nature, because we know that no matter where you're from or who you love, Louisville is a place that welcomes you as a visitor or a resident or a business. So we're glad you all are here with us today. We hope you'll come see us and stay for a while and experience some of our amazing culture and bourbon and sites. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Jessica.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. You can hang up here with me. Perfect. Ben, as we mentioned, is on our task force, LGBTQ task force, and we have a few other special guests that are joining us as well that also sit on our LGBTQ task force. And if we could, I'd like to call them out and have them open up their mic and say a few words. I know we have Josh and Mike and Chris. And Chris, if you're here, can you open up your mic and say hello to our friends from all over the world?
I'm happy to. Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Hartman. I use he, him pronouns. I'm executive director of the Fairness Campaign, which is now it's our statewide LGBTQ advocacy group all across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. But we were founded right here in Louisville by 10 Louisvillians 31 years ago yesterday. So we just celebrated our 31st birthday. And I get to touch on the bragging rights here because just like Ben was saying, Louisville was one of the first cities in the South, really in the nation, to pass a comprehensive anti-discrimination fairness ordinance, which protected LGBTQ folks from discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations 23 years ago. So 1999, Louisville became the first in Kentucky and one of the first in the nation at the time. This is where the bragging rights really come in, to protect transgender folks from that same discrimination. This was at a time in the late 90s when many states and cities were only protecting lesbian, gay, and bisexual folks. And Louisville said, we won't protect anyone if we can't protect everyone. And so we included trans folks at a pivotal moment and really helped lead the way. We beat New York City, believe it or not, by 3 years to protect trans folks from discrimination. Now, of course, they had an ordinance protecting lesbian, gay, and bisexual folks since the 70s. So they beat us by a couple decades there, but we were on the cutting edge of protecting our transgender community and ensuring that they were included. Also, if you didn't know, Louisville's got the 11th highest LGBTQ per capita population in the entire United States. So when we say it's pretty queer around here, y'all, we truly do mean it. And you can definitely see that if you come during one of our 2 huge Pride festivals. Huge congratulations to Mike Schaus, who's on here, and everybody that has worked with the Kentuckiana Pride Foundation for so long to turn what was once a very sparsely and very cloistered community picnic of LGBTQ folks more than 20 years ago into one of the preeminent LGBTQ Pride festivals in the entire nation. So we hope that you'll come and celebrate with us sometime. We hope you'll follow the Fairness Campaign and check in on our social media. I'll drop our website in the chat. And I just want to say, happy Pride, y'all.
Thank you, Chris. And with that, I'd love to hand it over to Mike Schaus, who's on with us, to share a little bit about this year's festivities that we've just hosted. Mike, are you there?
I am here.
Thank you, Mike, for being on.
So yeah, 21 years ago, we started up the Kentuckiana Pride Festival. Took it over from the smaller picnic group that had it before. And I remember our first year, we had a whopping 1,200 people through the gate. I don't have any official numbers from this year, but I've heard that it's around 25,000. We had by far the largest parade we've ever had in our history, estimated over 12,000 people in the parade itself. So very happy to be a citizen of Louisville, Kentucky for the past 26 years, serving on the Kentuckiana Pride Committee for 21 years, and on the tourism group since its inception.
Thank you, Mike, for being here. And we have one more of our LGBTQ task force members on with us, Josh. Ben's going to say a few words about his colleague.
Sure. I want to welcome Dr. Josh McKee. He's our Deputy Director for Economic Development, a great friend, and just a wonderful expert in all things workforce and talent attraction, and also has a great story himself about relocating to Louisville.
Hey, Josh.
Hi, good to see everybody. Thanks for the opportunity. So I just wanted to say, as a non-native Louisvillian, my husband and I moved here almost 10 years ago, and it was a great fit for us. It's really the only place we've ever lived. And, I've lived outside of DC, South Carolina, Tennessee, that my husband and I truly felt at home. You know, we get to go to restaurants, we don't get looked at, you don't get the traditional one check or two checks. So we are very excited to be living in a community that embraces us for who we are, and happy to work to continue that effort to make it better for everybody else.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for being here with us today too. And our task force, we get a lot of work done, but we have a lot of fun too. And a few more of our task force members are going to meet a little later on. You'll see why that is. Well, Ben, thank you so much for being here with us today. And we're going to move on over to our next segment of our program. But thanks, Ben. But you'll be coming back up for a little cocktail making, I know. So, well, I want to bring up our marketing department, our marketing team. Joining me today is Jordan Scora, who is our communications manager and also sits on our task force with us to share a little bit about our outreach efforts through our marketing and communications channels to our community. So Jordan, come on up. Let's say a few words.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, raise the camera up. He's a little taller than I am.
Take it down. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here today. As Jessica said, my name is Jordan Scora. I am a part of our marketing communications team here at Louisville Tourism, and I am also a longtime member of our LGBTQ hospitality task force. So as Nicole mentioned earlier, it's really important as a destination that we did our due diligence and our homework to make sure that we were actually ready to welcome LGBTQ visitors to our destination. Wanted to make sure that we could walk the walk versus just being able to talk the talk. But once we knew we were ready to welcome those visitors, there was a variety of outlets that we knew we could reach those visitors through. So obviously some of those are the traditional brand and digital advertising. I know Passport Magazine is on here. We've been a longtime partner with them, who we've had a great relationship with. There's also the earned media through hosting travel writers for outlets like Passport or Advocate or those other LGBT publications. And there's also hosting social media influencers. And that's kind of what the bulk of what I'm going to get into today. And I think a lot of times people might be a little timid or hesitant to host influencers because they might think they're too expensive or maybe hard to work with. But I think with the right partnerships, they can really be beneficial and actually, pay dividends. And obviously all three are very important in your marketing and media mix. But in a study pre-COVID that we did, we found out that the majority of the time when visitors were using resources to help plan their trip, social media was actually the #1 resource they used prior to arrival to try to figure out what they're going to do at the destination. And that's above, our destination website and websites like TripAdvisor and Yelp and those sort of things. So we know how important social media is to the travel atmosphere and the decision-making process. And so we know that influencers are a large part of that, right? I think we all probably have social media on here. We also know how important word of mouth is when it comes to convincing people to travel and pick destinations. So, we could buy an ad in Times Square saying Louisville is welcoming to LGBTQ travelers, but it's a lot easier to convince someone if it's through someone they know and someone they trust, like friends or people they follow on social media. I know that I have people that I follow on Instagram that I've never met before, but if I see them at a destination, then I'll trust them a little more than maybe an ad that I see in a magazine or on TV. So we've hosted a handful of LGBTQ influencers over the years, as well as writers. We really look at picking them from different cities and different backgrounds. You can see on the screen, we have two different examples of when we've hosted influencers. On the left is an account called Hers and Hers, and that's Hannah and Aaliyah. They're an engaged lesbian couple. We had them here last September, and they are based in Atlanta. And this is it's a little bit of a long caption. I don't know if you can read it on your screen, but I'm going to read it just because I think it's really impactful. It says, traveling as a queer couple can come with many unknowns. It's hard to be sure what exactly to expect. What places will you be welcomed in? What LGBTQ safe spaces are there? How safe can we expect to feel? As two queer ladies from the South, we get asked pretty often about how gay-friendly the South actually is and what cities to visit. So it has been really refreshing to see so many pride flags, safe space signs, and gay-friendly restaurants and bars here in Kentucky. We spent the weekend in Louisville touring and eating our way through the state, We've been pleasantly surprised by all the inclusive places we've seen and visited. Anyone else surprised to hear that too? So as a Southern destination, I feel like a lot of times we have to overcome a certain stigma. And like I said earlier, it's a lot easier for us to convince people, I think, through these trusted influencers and trusted voices that travelers may interact with on a daily basis versus traditional advertising opportunities. On the right, we have Jace with Jace's Journeys. And Jace's caption is a little less LGBTQ specific. It's a little bit of a softer sell. And he's just talking about his, great experience that he had while he was in Louisville. And he has around 18,000 followers, and he's based in Indiana. So if you're familiar with the geography of the US, Indiana is just right across the river from us, and a great market for us. We get a lot of visitors from there. So we love to see the conversations and kind of the longevity that social media influencers can give us. A lot of times with, these posts, you go into the comments for weeks and people will still be talking about it and commenting on it. Under Hannah and Aaliyah's post, people had said, y'all are making me want to visit Kentucky. Louisville totally surprised us too. We really enjoyed exploring the city. And those are the kind of comments that the preparation that we did prior to bringing influencers in, I think really has paid dividends for us. If we weren't prepared to host these LGBTQ influencers, it could have gone a really different direction. So we're really happy to see that. Comment on Jace's says that my boyfriend and I just moved to Louisville and we're talking about how we want to go and see a horse race. So these are just two small examples. We could talk about influencers and marketing all day, but really happy with these results. They were great visits. We are happy to build these relationships and hopefully, even beyond these posts, these influencers and now friends will help spread the word about Louisville. Lastly, with influencers, it's really easy to be able to track your analytics. So if you build these relationships, you can email your clients a month later and get your impressions and your shares and all the comments and really see where you stand as a destination. So that's my spiel on that. Thank you all for listening. And Jessica is back to the stage.
Yes, thank you, Jordan.
Thank you.
Very informative. So thank you again for being part of that. So as we said, we have been incredibly intentional with our efforts that we have put forth. And additional to the groups that we have mentioned with our LGBTQ task force, we have also done some other work in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if we could, Chris, put up our DEI statement. So this is Louisville Tourism's DEI statement that we have implemented. This work has come about through the combined efforts of an internal DEI committee that we have formed to assess and evaluate our own policies and procedures internally. But also, too, we are advised by a group of other community leaders and stakeholders through the newly formed Black Travel Advisory Council. And this council is made up of stakeholders in our community that are informing our decisions around our outreach efforts to promote the city of Louisville as being welcoming to all. And with that being said, I want to highlight something that we're going to segue into as we start to get into our cocktail making. But this was an intentional demonstration of a featured cocktail that is part of something that we created and launched in 2021. We created a program called the Unfiltered Truth Collection. And the Unfiltered Truth Collection is a series of immersive experiences telling the story of Louisville's Black history and heritage. We're telling the story of the 13 out of the 15 jockeys that were African-American that won the Kentucky Derby in the very starting days of the race's inception. We're telling the stories of influential Americans who started in the bourbon industry, talking about legends such as Elmer Lucille Allen, who is a Black woman and a chemist here at Brown-Forman locally, which makes Woodford Reserve and Old Forester. We have eight attractions that have put together these immersive experiences, dive in further into this programming. And they feature sites such as the Fraser History Museum, the Kentucky Derby Museum, historic Locust Grove. We have the African American Heritage Center, Roots 101 African American History Museum, and many more. But joining us today is one of our partners that has really been intentional about their programming and their work at their experience, which is Jeff Crow. Going to come up here and join me. Hey, Jeff.
Hey,
Jeff.
Jess, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Love this shirt. Love this shirt. Jeff is also on our LGBTQ task force. And Jeff is with the Heaven Hill Distillery and Evan Williams Bourbon Experience here in downtown Louisville. And you all have also been part of the Unfiltered Truth Collection with your Ideal Bartender Experience. But I also want to give you the floor and just talk a little bit about Heaven Hill, Evan Williams, and the work you all are doing before we get into our fun cocktail making session.
Absolutely. So it's very confusing when we talk about Evan Williams Bourbon and Heaven Hill Distillery, how those two connect. So Heaven Hill Distillery is our parent company, and we are celebrating the 87th year as a family-owned and operated, American-owned and operated company. So we're very proud of that. And Evan Williams is just one of our brands that falls under that category. And so that's the brand that we celebrate here in downtown Louisville that we have brought back to life with the visitor experience that we opened in 2013. But since 2013, we've done a lot of growing, a lot of opportunities have come our way. I'm very proud to be a part of the LGBTQ task force here in Louisville, Kentucky, and very excited to bring all those things to the necessary people to understand what we need. My husband and I have been partners for 22 years. So we were part of this community, what we say in the school, and we have a 21-year-old son. And so we want to make sure that we're doing the right things to set the right examples, not only for him, but everyone around him. So lots of things that we have done here in Louisville. Evan Williams was the first distiller to be legal in Kentucky. So we brought the first distillery back to Whiskey Row, which is a segment of Main Street here in Louisville 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago now. And since then, Heaven Hill has really stepped up to the plate. This year, we were able to participate in the Kentuckiana Pride Parade for the first time as a company. We marched with a banner and a flag, and all of our employees that signed up wore shirts that says, "Together we are Heaven Hill. Together we care, we learn, and we grow." And that is our motto for the next 10 years, because we all have to learn to love, grow, and educate each other. So we've done lots of things, even from our marketing sales department to diversifying candidate slates, to internship programming and training, so many other things that we get to do. But I'm really up here to talk about fun. You know, Evan Williams brings fun, and Ben is going to come back with me. Ben and I are shorter than Jordan, so we're very glad that we're the same size. And so we fit all in the camera span. So we're going to make a cocktail together. And so everybody has all the ingredients. You should have got a really cool packet in the mail. Has all these great ingredients in it, from the rainbow koozie down to even the mini bourbons that we're going to use. But now, Ben, you and I both know this is way too small for Louisville. So we're going to this is Jeff's size.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. Right. So this really ties back into our partnership with the Ideal Bartender that we did with the Unfiltered Truth. And the Ideal Bartender is all based on Tom Bullock. And Tom Bullock, who is he? He's the first African-American man to ever write and publish a cocktail book. So brings a lot to life. He also changed the world for the old fashioned. So he's the first person to ever put bourbon in it. And we're so grateful that he did. So there are 2 glasses up here. Then we're going to do this as easy as we can.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about this very easy, because you guys are at home. And to make a great cocktail, you don't have to have all the fancy tools and utensils that they have in the bar. You can use a wooden spoon to muddle things. You can do lots of things that is not necessary. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this little, we put some ice, and we have allowed it to melt.
Good Louisville water.
Good little water. So normally we're going to ask you to do sugar water or simple syrup, but if you don't have that, we're going to give you a couple packs of sugar. Perfect. I'm going to use soup. I like that in mine.
I like it sweet.
There you go. We're going to put those in your glass. Raw sugar, as you can tell.
Thanks.
Wow.
Wow.
You're new at this. You're slow.
You said easy. I'm like, I like easy. Let's do it. There we go.
So then we're going to take a little bit of this water, and we're going to put it into this. We're going to use this little spoon that looks like a shovel,
Okay.
just to hold the ice from going in there.
That's smart.
Add a little bit to your cup.
Okay. There we go. I'm gonna borrow your spoon. All right, that trick, I like that. It's very nice. Okay. Make our own little simple syrup. Perfect.
So you can use that spoon, Ben.
Okay.
You can use whatever you need to dissolve that sugar. Stir it around till it dissolves. If you're at home, you can boil equal parts of sugar and water on the stove until it dissolves. Put it in your refrigerator till it cools, and it'll keep 7 to 14 days. And you can use, when you're having a quick party, add that up. All right. Now you're going to take what we call bitters. Usually they come in a much bigger bottle, but obviously they didn't want to have too many, Ben. So you're going to take a couple.
You gotta smuggle it
You
somehow.
got to smuggle it. So you're going to take a couple dashes.
Okay. All right.
So bitters just brings out a really woodsy, oaky flavor in the bourbon, helps bring it to a new level. There you go. And then you're going to do the same thing with that fancy spoon. You're going to stir that around. Perfect. All right. Yeah, this is the hard part. Let you use the small one. You get too crazy like that. Open your mini bottle, everybody has at home. If you've already drank it, good for you, but if not, you can refill it so you know the exact size. You're gonna add that.
Whole thing.
Whole
Okay,
thing.
there we go, bottoms up.
And if you're lucky, put a pin on it, make it a brooch. You can do lots of fun things with this.
Wish I had a pocket.
Yeah. Swirl it around one more time.
One more time. You got it.
We're gonna add a couple cubes of ice. Guys, this doesn't have to be fancy ice that you see in the bars. It can be crushed ice from your refrigerator. It can be those ice molds that you use at home. It can be anything that keeps it chilled.
Beautiful.
Now, once it's in there, you're gonna swirl it around about 3 or 4 times. You're gonna see your glass get a little bit, not frosty, but foggy on the side. That means it's chilled, okay? Now you're gonna do the hard part. Lemon. Sharp objects. You could use a pocket knife.
It's like my 2-year-old, right?
That's right. You're gonna take this and you're gonna pull off a little bit of lemon, okay?
Let's embarrass myself. Let's go for
Sorry,
it.
we have no Band-Aids pinned, so.
Oh, boy, all right. Taking a risk here. I hope your insurance can cover
Well, I wore this shirt. Well, it doesn't show.
it. All right.
That's enough. You can do that.
That's
Yeah.
a poor showing.
That's
We'll go
good.
for it. All right.
Yeah, so grab that.
Look at that.
You're gonna twist it above it. And you're gonna see a little bit of expression of the lemon juice in your glass.
Right.
You're gonna rub that around the rim. Everybody's like, oh, what does that do? It does a lot. That aromatic moment of the cocktail plays a big role. Drop it in there.
Perfect.
I would normally put a lot more ice in mine, but apparently ice is short here.
We have a shortage.
We have a shortage. So you're gonna swirl that around and I'm gonna cheers to you.
Cheers to you, sir.
You and I are gonna have a drink and then we're gonna invite everybody up to have a cocktail with us.
I love it.
Can we do that?
Let's do it.
All right, everybody.
Where'd our friends go?
They got magically filled glasses.
We had to work for this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you all close it out. Thank you all for watching Ben and I, but Jess, Nicole,
Thank you
the
all.
team.
We
Cheers, everyone.
want to cheers everyone. Happy Pride, happy Bourbon Month, and cheers. Thank you all for being with us
Cheers.
today. Cheers. Clank, clank, clank.
Cheers.
Visit us soon.
And your camera's on for the cheers.
Everybody, turn your cameras on so we can see you.
Let's see how.
Everybody's bourbon.
There we go. There's Billy. You took your bourbon all the way to Frankfurt, Billy. That's amazing.
All right. So Santiago, are you going to lead us through our
Yes.
Q&A
So
session
now-
for the prize winner?
Perfect. Thank you all so much. That was amazing. You're really such a great example of how to do things right and how to develop a destination in the LGBTQ plus market by involving the community, by training businesses, by really creating awareness and transforming cultures, really. And you're also transforming negative stereotypes by helping us broaden our horizons, open our minds and hearts, of course, to the best of a Southerner's ability. So I'm very, very happy that you guys were the first destination launching our first LGBTQ plus destination showcase series. And please know that you always have a home here at IGLT. So now we're going to move to the giveaway. The giveaway is a chance for you to win a special Louisville Love Pride package, which includes a 2-night stay at a downtown hotel in Louisville, 2 main tickets to which you have access to 7 of Louisville's top downtown attractions, a $100 Visa gift card to experience Louisville's hot local culinary scene, and a Louisville Pride welcome basket as well, and a special guided tour, and of course, a tasting at the Evan Williams Bourbon Experience, like we got today. So this is a wonderful, wonderful package. So we're going to be launching some questions. And I'm going to ask for this part, if you want to participate in it, this is the way it's going to work. If you want to be part of this giveaway, you have to turn your cameras on now, because every time we ask a question, if you get the question right, you get to keep your camera on for the next question. If you get your question wrong, you have to turn your camera off. Now, the way, of course, we will know at first is just by trusting you. And if you get the question wrong, we're going to tell you which one's the right answer. If you get it wrong, we're going to trust that you will turn your camera off, but we will verify the winner at the end with the pulse report. All right. So if you want to participate in today's giveaway, please do turn your camera on right now. All right, so we're going to launch a test question for everyone just to make sure that you are getting the dynamic and that you actually get the question popped up on your screens. So I'm going to launch test question right now. Please let us know. I'm launching the question, so everyone should have a popped question on your screen. All right, so we've got 12 people so far participating. And I know that so not all of you have your cameras on, so I'm assuming not everyone wants to participate in the dynamic, but that's okay. All right, perfect. So we have, actually we have 15 people participate. All right, good. So if everyone is on board, let's start. We're gonna go ahead and start with the first question today. Question number 1, which is here it is. The Kentucky Derby is always run on what day? And I'm gonna have the Louisville tourism team let us know the right answers for each of these questions.
Those are actually trick questions here, Santiago.
All right, so we already have 13 participants. 14. We initially had 15 participate in the test question. There we go. We have 16 people participating now. All right, so we're gonna close this session. I'm gonna end it there. What would the correct answer be, Jessica, Chris?
Saturday in May.
The first Saturday in May. So 10 out of the 16 people who answered got that question correct. So we should see, besides of course my screen and Louisville's screen, and Tony, are you participating? Okay, so let's switch our cameras off if you're not participating, and if you got that question right, if you selected the first Saturday in May, you should have your cameras on. So I see a lot of you. I see 10 of you. Perfect. It seems like we're getting the dynamic. Let's launch question number 2. Which floral arrangement is draped over the Kentucky Derby winner?
Close attention to the screen. Background lights.
Hints. Are we allowed to give hints, Santiago?
Yes, of course. All right. So actually, most people selected that question correctly. So I'm going to end the poll.
We're going to get harder as we go.
Yes. So every year, the Kentucky Derby winner is draped with a garland of roses. It's the run for the roses.
The garland of roses. So 10 of you, again, got it right. Again, if you didn't get the right question last time, you cannot participate in the next question. So only the ones that are getting it right. So we should only get 10 answers in the next questions, okay? So make sure if you got it right this time.
Blanket of Lilies is what we drape over the winner of the Oaks race, which takes place on Friday, the day before Derby, with the lilies for the fillies.
Perfect. All right, so only the 10 of you who got that right can participate in question number 3, which is, which famous boxer was born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky? All right, this is an easy one. Well, we got somebody who did it right. All right, I guess it wasn't that easy. See, this is why you had to pay attention to the presentation. All right, we have 8 answers. So 2 of you who are participating are still, who got it right last time, still missing.
Goes by many nicknames. Goat. It's all time.
9. There's one last one that should be answering this question that is not answering it before I close it. All right, and we have 10 answers. And only 7 of you got it right. So I should only be seeing 7 cameras on screen right now.
So the correct answer, are you ready? Muhammad Ali.
Of course, the correct answer is Muhammad Ali. Thanks.
Born and raised with Cassius Clay.
All right, so we have Neil, we have Emily, we have Brandon, we have Kai, we have Billy. All right, and we have yeah, I think that's it, right? Who else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh wait, but that's only 5, and I'm getting 7 people. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I'm only seeing 5 finalists: Neil, Emily, Brandon, Billy, Kai, and nobody else is participating, right? Okay. All right. Just making sure. All right. Question number 4. The city of Louisville was named after.
So they start to get tough.
Go back to your social study days.
Yeah, no Googling. Santiago, did you get the answer to this one? You have it?
I think I know it, but
Okay.
I don't want to risk it. You announce it. All right, so we got enough responses. I'm gonna end the poll. And the right answer, Jessica?
Go ahead.
All right, the correct answer is King Louis the 16th.
The 16th. That was a tough one. All right. So who got it? All right. So now we only have Neil, Brandon, Billy.
Oh, was Billy in there?
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay. We have 3 finalists. All right. So it's the 3 finalists. So only you 3 are competing for the giveaway. All right. Next question. How many Pride festivals does Louisville have? All right. And the right answer, Jessica?
answer is 2.
2.
Two Pride festivals we hosted.
Neil, Billy, Brendan, did you all get that correct? Yeah? All right, let's go to question number 6. How many years has Louisville scored a perfect 100% on the Human Rights Campaign Equality Index? All right. So Jessica?
Because even a clue in the answers, if you added A and B together, you get the correct answer C, 7.
7. All right, so everyone got that correct.
Okay. Oh, this next one's gonna be tough too.
You guys paid attention. I'm surprised with all the drinking. All right, question number 7. You can't spell Louisville without love. All right, this is an easy one. All right. Of course, you can't.
Depending on how much bourbon you've had, though, you never know.
Of course, you cannot. Love that person, by the way.
Absolutely true. All right, next, hopefully we knock some off on the next one.
All right, we may have to go into a tie break. We do have a tie break mechanism, so don't worry about it. Next question is, Louisville has how many tag-approved accommodations? Somebody's not answering. Brandon, Neil, Billy? All right. And the correct answer is?
Ready? Same as the other, 7.
7. Who didn't get it right? I have 4 people responding. So there's a 4th person that's responding that's sort of like sabotaging the whole thing. All right, but anyway, that's 7. So now we're gonna trust, but we will verify at the end. But that's 3 of you did get that correct. All right, we're gonna go to question number 9. Evan Williams was Kentucky's first distiller. Is this true or false? All right, What is the right answer, Louisville?
That's
True.
That's true. All right, everyone got that correct.
Okay.
All right, and we're gonna go to the last two questions before we have to tie break this with our spin the wheel mechanism. Which is the official cocktail of Louisville? Well, this is easy.
Oh. We're known for our gin faces.
Well, it's not that easy, I guess. Not everyone. We got all right. We got to divide it.
Old-fashioned.
What is it? The old-fashioned, of course. And
Old-fashioned.
only 2 of you got it correct.
Oh, nice.
Next one's hopefully tiebreaker.
Oh, Billy, he got it. Well, it was after that whole drink, you know, can't expect it. But Brandon and Neil are our finalists. All right, so if you both get the next question correct, we're gonna go into our tie break. But this is the last question. What is the name of Tom Bollock's cocktail book?
For a trip to Louisville, you guys.
Don't Google this. If 3, 2. All right, we got 2 answers. I'm gonna end it. What is the right answer, Louisville?
Ideal bartender.
The ideal bartender. Who got it right? All right. I'm sorry, Neil.
We're a winner.
Well, Brandon, you got it right? You selected it right. Neil, did you? Oh, the poll disappeared. Oh, okay. I closed it because I had gotten 2 answers, and somebody was kept answering all the way till the end. But anyway,
Yeah, I'll do it.
well,
Do you want to do a tiebreaker? We have a tiebreaker
yeah,
question.
we'll do the tiebreaker just to
All
be
right.
fair.
It's between who? Who here? Who are the 2 people?
Neil and Brandon.
Okay.
Neil and Brandon.
All right. So first person to answer it in the chat, and Nicole's back there monitoring, and so is Santiago. So we'll have multiple verifiers. Who won the Kentucky Derby this year? Which horse? Name of the horse that won the Kentucky Derby this year.
All right. Well,
First person to answer in the chat, right, gets it correct, and nobody else can answer but Brandon and Neil.
Brandon.
Brandon
got it.
Brandon got it. Brandon.
right.
Rich strike.
Well, there you
81.
go. You are the lucky winner of a Louisville Pride package. So congratulations. Woo!
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining today. This has been an amazing experience. This has been an amazing LGBTQ plus destination showcase. Thank you all so much at Louisville Tourism. You are all doing such a great job. You really are, putting the name up high for Southern hospitality for sure. So thank you all so much. And we'll see you next round, everyone.
Thank you all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Happy end of Pride.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers. What time is it? Jeremy?
Hey. Now we need to get back on.